Hey friends, Jeff. We're doing another mistyping session, this time with my good friend, beloved friend, Collin Cannon. Colin's in Denver. Welcome, Colin.
Hey, Jeff. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Dear listeners, the two most quality people I know have been the first two guests for this new season of me interviewing my friends. Colin does stellar work on behalf of humanity, fighting for the rights and of people who commonly are abused in our culture through the legal process. And we're going to talk quite a bit about that, I bet, today. But I'm thrilled that you're with me, boss.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
To get into this, you are from Albuquerque.
Yes, I am. The 5-0 filthy.
Transplant to Colorado.
Yes.
Why did you come to Colorado, Colin?
Jeff, in all my years knowing you, I have never given you a satisfactory answer, and I'm not about to today. I don't know why I came to Colorado. I came for undergrad, so I grew up in Albuquerque first 18 years of my life, and then I had plenty of schools to choose from undergraduate, and the one that stuck out to me, and I'm glad it did, was the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley. And I toured tons of schools, but that was the one where I'm like, this is where I feel that I belong. And it truly worked out for the best. I found my interest in political science and philosophy there. I have made lifelong friends there, and I became deeply involved in the Greeley community because of it.
Dear listener, UNC is a third tier school, and Colin could rightly be accepted to some of the top 10 universities in our country, if not the world. Just far smarter than I am. And the fact that
I'm not going to let you just say that on your podcast. That's not true.
You came to Colorado, got into political science and philosophy. What are the things that drew you most to those two topics?
Yeah, I mean, so I originally came to undergraduate thinking, like so many others, that I wanted to do psychology. And this is not a slight toward individuals who actually chose that and stuck with it. But I'm interested in systems. I'm interested in the distribution of resources. I'm interested in the questions that make people feel alive and what makes them feel like they want to change the world. Philosophy it teaches you how to think. To my mind, it is the foundational system upon which all other knowledge is based. And so it is the critical area of focus. And I am fortunate enough to have had a wonderful intro to philosophy professor who got me interested in the subject. And, if we think of philosophy as involving, ethics, metaphysics, epistemology, aesthetics, and logic, ethics is, the domain that grabs my interest the most. Meta ethics, normative ethics, applied ethics, all of it. So I am endlessly interested in those conversations.
Bang. You've been in a relationship for a while now.
6.5 years.
Well, 6.5 years?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. The time has flown.
Tell me about your partner.
Yes. My partner, Jay, and I have been together 6.5 years. She and I met in Greeley we are part of the same community. And she and I are complete opposites. But that's what makes our dynamic so interesting. We are opposites in how we approach the world and how we see things. And her perspective makes me better. It slows me down. It encourages me to look at the world through a completely different lens. And I'm endlessly grateful for that.
Jay is likely a 4. Have we actually found out?
Jay is the textbook 4, to my mind. We haven't dug into this, but I think all of us who know her, we see her and we're like, that's the 4.
We're just going to type Jay.
Yes. We're going to go off script here and say, no analysis needed. She is our textbook 4. If we were on camera, you would see behind me that this is Jay's part of the room in our common office, and hers is beautiful and artistic, and it's full of all of these knickknacks that she has encountered in strange places around the world that bring her joy and demonstrate her uniqueness. And my side, conversely, which you can't see, thank God, is completely barren. I have wonderful plans for it, but it is barren right now.
Well, someday we may get Jay on to do the official typing A throwdown. 6.5 years. How old are you?
I'm 33.
But have not gotten married yet. No pressure from your family on that, I'm sure.
No pressure from my family, actually.
Oh, really?
This is more of an insight into the Cannon family. Dynamics of the Cannon family. The dynamics of the Cannon family are what you do in your personal life is frankly of no consequence and not that interesting. What are you doing professionally? And are you hitting the benchmarks in this regard? Yes, father. Yes, mother.
Pro bono lawyer work is probably a conversation topic then at Thanksgiving.
You know what? No. So what matter more to them are the accolades and the achievement in a professional setting, not the income earned. That's not terribly important to them. It's so much as are you receiving acclaim in your field? Are you contributing to the conversation?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, has that hit you? Like, just
that was a terrible weight around my neck for a huge portion of my life. Yeah. I'll be honest that the moment of liberation came when I hope I'm not like slandering my family here, but this is just what it is. Through high school, through undergraduate, through my master's degree, the weight remained. It was only when I finished the doctorate degree where there's just nothing left, where I had checked all of the boxes. And I think I felt a pivot in approval where they said, hey, you're doing great. Why the worry?
Dear listener, Colin has a Juris Doctorate from one of the best schools in the country. Yeah.
It's a fine school.
This shows Colin's quality that you can look at the University of Denver and say,
And that is my honest assessment. Now that's the comment that's actually going to get me in trouble.
This all points to motive, Colin. It's fantastic. What's the woman's name who served as under George W. Bush? She got her
Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah, I mean that's
she did.
She got the exact same degree as Colin, by the way, from that school. So just to show you the quality of folks coming out. Anyway, well, tell the folks what you're up to now.
Professionally, I am an immigration attorney, and I love what I do. I am one of the rare lawyers who gets to say truthfully that my job description is help as many people as you can for free. And that is through years of finagling to get into this kind of position, but I am, again, incredibly grateful for it. I routinely travel across the country meeting with individuals who cannot afford representation on their own. I come to them and try to provide them a pathway toward permanent residency, toward citizenship, or any kind of interim relief from deportation that I can find to them before ICE gets to them. So that's what I do professionally. Personally, I'm an aspiring author. I am 100,000 words deep into a fiction book that I'm writing. It will be the first of 3. And I have plans for others. I am not a published author like our beloved host here, but that is hopefully in the future. Maybe even from subversive publishing, if I play my cards right.
Helping as many people as you can for free has motive written all over it. Talk about that, my man.
Yeah, I had a brief stint where I was not in the role that I am now, where I was a more typical lawyer where I charged hourly and worked for a culture that had that hourly billing practice. And I lasted only 2 months. I made the firm, $100,000 in 2 months. I did not get that. Don't worry. I wish, and the culture was one of, if they can't pay, move along. There are plenty other fish in the sea. And this is not me. I don't want to discredit anyone's efforts at that firm or say that they weren't fully devoted to the cause of immigrant justice. I'm sure they were, but the limitation on scale just didn't sit right with me. And the idea that someone's, financial capacity determined what kind of justice they could afford, which is true of the American justice system writ large, or legal system, I should say. I won't use the word justice. that just didn't sit right with me. I needed to find a culture where the team that I was with was devoted to what is the impact we can make at scale, and how can we routinely break down barriers for people who don't have access. And even though it's a private firm, and that may seem like a contradiction to work at a private firm rather than a nonprofit, the utility of working at a private firm really just is the case that we can afford, through institutional clients that we have, we can actually afford to leverage big money that people are willing to pay to subsidize tons of free work. And so that's the space that I occupy is let's use that and let's leverage it with no hands tied either, which is this thing about, I helped co-found a nonprofit in the Greeley area years ago during the first Trump administration about immigrant rights. And I was responsible for raising a good portion of the money that we use there. And the thing about grant funding is that it's strings attached. It's completely mission oriented in terms of how you can use it. And we did a lot of great work. I'm incredibly proud of that work. But there's a certain quality to unrestricted funding about saying, what does the situation call for? And let's just do it. That's liberating.
That's lovely. There's a big picture all over your language here, but I bet you have personal stories. Like what's one story that comes to your mind in terms of like the thing that really fills your tank on these fronts?
Yeah, I mean, I have a handful. I'll go with maybe one of the more recent ones. Right before the 2024 election, I took a team out to rural Minnesota. And there was a whole town that was in need of immigration protection before the Trump administration were to take office. And of course, at the time, we did not know who would be the president. I had a cynical suspicion as to how things would turn out. And so this was some of the motivation behind organizing this event. And we helped a community of 530 Guatemalans who didn't have legal status find protection through something called deferred action that protects them for the duration of the Trump administration. And so saw a need, organized around it, and brought that whole town together in a way that is going to keep them safe for years to come. And I'm incredibly proud of that. And it was free to all of them.
Is recognition important to you on these fronts?
No, nothing. I don't think anything I've done has my name on it. I care far more about the work being accomplished and being accomplished well than I do about, this was Colin's thing. So.
Bang. Do you find that, to pivot a little bit, you've talked about systems and philosophy. You're obviously got some ideals going on. How much of this is I am a boots on the ground, making things happen physically, check marking everything, versus I have lots of dreams and I really want 28 things for 28 different people, and I'm kind of feeding energy into those spaces? Are you more the check market, get it done, this needs to get accomplished kind of guy? Or are you more of the here are the dreams, let me inspire others to make things happen kind of guy? Or something else, I suppose.
No, I feel resonance with both of those. I think that the needle tilts ever so slightly toward the dreams and like, let me think big picture and let me try to inspire action. I think the needle is slightly in that direction, but I definitely feel the pull toward, I want to be the one who's like getting things done. We do not need to be stuck in the paralysis of analysis.
Paralysis of analysis. Do you feel any pull, need, strong desire to be connected over time with the people that you've helped?
No.
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Like, it's just this is a typing question. It's like,
no, I get it.
You helped them, check mark, we're on to, there are other people that clearly need your energies. Yeah.
Absolutely. The problem evolves and changes. And so what does this moment call for? I'm responding in this moment with the best available option. And the next moment calls for something else. Let's go.
Bang. All right. Well, dear listener, Colin has been around my Enneagram journey for a decade. Commonly in conversations around Colin and with Colin, 1s, 2s, and 7s have popped up. We have never done this, though. We've never just sat down and said, hey, let's do the work and figure out what's really in the soul.
We've been a
Mr.
part
Cannon.
of a group chat for, I think, a decade just as long, too, about current events and politics. And this slips in every now and then until eventually you're like, you know what? I run a podcast about these things. Let's chat about this.
We should just talk. So that may speak to both of our motives at some level, but I do think that there is. So in my experience of you, if I may,
Please.
You give forth so much great energy, and yet at times it seems to be a small space that's yours that you keep private. Am I wrong in saying that you have a kind of a boundaries around your privacy, or do you feel like you're just very upfront with everything that you are?
No, I think your observation is spot on. I think that I have a public persona about how I show up in public spaces. I think that I gear up. I kind of, I charge up like a video game character to go into public spaces and to kind of give it my all. But I recharge and I maintain privacy around the private sphere very strongly. I seldom talk at length about my relationship or my home life, not because I'm, ashamed of them or don't want to talk about them. I do. I seldom encourage those conversations or catalyze those.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to get out of the way before we just jump in. You will be familiar with Enneagram language, so this will be really easy once we make the pivot. But I feel like we have a good sense of who you are. Primarily, I think just to set 2 aside, I'm not sure who slid 2 into this, but the fact that you don't want recognition, the fact that you're moving on after helping some folks. Help is all over the language here, but for 2s are going to get so much of their sense of self from those relationships that they have invested in, and they store up those investments for the future. And that's just not what I'm hearing from you there. But 1s and 7s consistently pop for me. Go ahead.
I agree that 1s and 7 is the kind of dilemma that I'm stuck between. And in fact, I brought the hard copy of the book and I tallied between them.
You've already done the homework.
I have tried to. The thing about 2s that I will say is on that distinction between a public persona and a private persona is that the 2 helping language and the investment in those relationships really does resonate for me there in the private life. Mm-hmm. Only insofar as I have a handful, truly 6 or 7 people in my world whom I'm really willing to invest in and go to whatever length for. And that group, I'm quite judicious about allowing new ones in or letting people who are in that group fall out. I will invest in those endlessly, which doesn't inherently mean that I am a 2, because that motivation doesn't carry across all domains. But in the private sphere, I think is probably where we got that idea from.
Yeah. Dear listener, we're going to be using the Around the Circle book. In the appendix, there's both a mistyping chart and there's a section that's about themes for the types. Just to engage 2 for a second, because it is important on exactly the fronts that you're saying. I'm going to just flip to some of the themes that a lot of 2s communicate in terms of how they see the world, their motive, and how that gets expressed. There's a need to be needed, but much of that comes out of a desire to feel loved, the sentiment that I'm okay if you're okay, and even more than that, I'm indispensable in making that happen. When I say that sort of thing, does that resonate with you deeply?
Absolutely. For my romantic relationships,
come on.
Truly, let's get real, Jeff. This is a podcast. This is just you and I. I don't know who's listening to this. I have a savior complex, and that has gotten me into trouble in many past relationships. And I'm really trying to grow out of that, because it doesn't enable my partners. It doesn't accomplish the ends that it tells itself that it does. It's counterproductive. But I I've carried that into every past relationship that I've been in.
Do you have a strong fear of rejection?
I hope that this running theme doesn't get old and played out, but in a public space, absolutely not. I've actually become quite comfortable recognizing that my personality is increasingly polarizing in public spaces, and I've come to terms with that, and I'm happy with it. I feel no need to convert people for whom that doesn't work. In my personal life, among that inner circle, I worry about rejection, not constantly, but if the relationship is in trouble, it grips my mind entirely.
Bang. Do you find it difficult to think about the future?
I live in the future. I seldom live in the present or the past. In fact, I almost never live in the past. I consider myself blocked from the past, I would even say.
Do you experience any feelings of relational anxiety from the past then? Like relationships that went badly, do they inform who you are?
Absolutely. They inform who I am in that I assessed why the relationship failed and tried to correct from that and grow from it. But I don't linger or ruminate on it.
Bang. Are you able to read the emotions and feelings of others real easily?
Yes, and I'll use the word intuitively so, intentionally, knowing that that's heavy Enneagram language.
It is.
I think I interpret others' feelings through intuition more than through any sort of conscious analysis of reading their facial expressions. I can just feel the energy in that encounter.
Living in the future, do you get anxious? Do you understand that you get anxious?
I have gotten so much better in managing my anxiety all in the last maybe 4 years. But I would say that anxiety was a defining feature of my personality prior to that.
Is the anxiety about your relationships or is it about something else?
Relationships would be the through line. In the moments that I continue to experience anxiety, although it's much more infrequent now, relationships are the source of it. Other than that, I used to get quite anxious about failure. I was worried that I wouldn't be prepared for the thing that was coming down the line. And so anxiety was always a motive for additional preparation.
Do you feel like you carry a hidden grief?
I don't think I would call it a grief, no.
Yeah. Perfect.
You're like, what the hell does that mean?
My assumption is that if you were some of the types, that may be just obvious. Of course I carry grief.
Sure, that's true.
At a primary level, do you feel like you give in order to gain your value and worth?
Absolutely.
Do you think that fixing other people is a sign of affection?
Unfortunately, yes, though I'm trying to reevaluate my relationship to that belief.
All right, well, I was going to pivot off too, but maybe we'll sit here for a while. I jumped in. One that I always type everybody is one. And dear listener, you will not be at all in the wrong for thinking one up front as well, because you're using so much one language. And yet I know you as a super optimistic person. In fact, problem solving, in my experience of you, this is the first thing that comes to my mind, is that you tend to take a positive outlook when things break. Am I wrong there?
Eternally optimistic. The final lines of The Great Gatsby, where Nick Carraway says, "Tomorrow we will reach our arms farther." Like that encapsulation, I know it's meant to be about the American spirit in the way that Jay Gatsby represents the American spirit, but like I resonate with that final passage of The Great Gatsby so much on that eternal optimism. I truly believe that, so we carry on boats against the current. We will endeavor to do more tomorrow.
Bang. All right. Well, we're going to circle these three numbers. It's unfortunately the case that so much of what you're saying is just, this is why, though Colin is very close to both TJ and I, just haven't nailed this down. So I'm jumping to our mistyping chart in the book. Yes, section on twos and sevens. We'll just start with twos and sevens. And again, dear listener, the book is a prompt for conversation. The best stuff, you'll notice it in my conversation with Colin. Best stuff's going to come out in what Colin says now in the book. But do you have a primary need as a 2? I'll say 2s first and then 7s. Do you have a more of a need to be needed, or do you have more of a need to be free?
I have more of a need to be needed, I think. But again, I keep this dichotomy of the public space and the private space.
Yeah.
That changes my answer entirely. In the public space, I need to be free, and the need to be needed is a very distant second priority. But in the private sphere, I absolutely need to be needed, and I will forego my freedom to secure that feeling of being needed.
I think this is important, and I suppose I'll say it just since you're informed. I think that our jobs can mask a lot of our type. I think oftentimes our jobs are actually, we push into our jobs in order to feel a little bit more secure. I feel like our security number and our jobs come together here. But that may be I think our private face says a little bit more about our motive, but we'll see. Do you fear being unloved, or do you fear being constrained and limited more?
I fear being unloved more than being limited.
Do you find that you are focusing first on other people or focusing on all of your options?
I focus more on other people, but what I love to do for other people is bring them options. Something I wanted to caveat when you were talking earlier about, do I feel the need to change others, save others, improve others? I very often model my behavior for a very long time prior to bringing that conversation to them. I try to change through modeling, which I know is a very deep one behavior. But that failing, I take it next to conversation through the form of presenting options.
Those are excellent. Do you find that when things break again, that you're more inclined to offer comfort or more inclined to offer energy and forward movement?
Energy and forward movement.
Do you struggle to say no to other people first, or struggle to say no to the opportunities ahead of you?
I struggle more to say no to the people first.
Do you find security in being close with other people, or do you find more security in stimulation and the buzz of doing stuff?
Security through other people.
Do you find that you can sit with other people in their pain, or do you avoid other people's pain?
I'm going to be horrible, Jeff. I can sit with other people in their pain for a little bit. And then I'm like, let's go. Let's keep moving. You know, what is not what's next, but rather what do we do with this? What are the opportunities ahead of us?
Avoid rejection, avoid discomfort.
I avoid discomfort. I know that you welcome nuance, but I am annoyed by myself for my need to caveat everything. Again,
this is the interesting part. The interesting part is what you're going to say.
So if it's a matter of principle, I welcome rejection because I welcome the opportunity for a strong conversation regarding why is it that we feel so strongly about this difference? Why is this an immovable object for me? Why do you feel the need to move it? So if it's over something for which I'm principled, I welcome rejection. If it's anything short of a principled stand, I avoid the discomfort if possible.
It's perfect. All right. I'm going to move off of 7 for a moment, but keep it in our pocket and go over to the 1s, which was my initial impulse. But thinking in systems and thinking in quotes can be both real common for 1s, but thinking in quotes, as you did with Gadsby, can be a very 2-ish thing of getting grounding through ideas that you hold on to. It's just a common feature that I found. So, but we'll see. The list on 1s and 2s is going to feel kind of similar, but the moral element will probably pop its head in quite a bit more
Truly.
with ones here. So, but between ones and twos, ones often need to be good, where twos need to be needed. And the source of identity is very much there, internally, relationally. Do you gravitate to one of those more?
I gravitate toward the need to be good. Not to use another quote, but one of our favorite quotes for the two of us is from C.S. Lewis of when you put first things first, second things naturally follow. I believe that to embody that goodness is to be putting first things first, and relationships will orient themselves toward that embodiment, whether that's of virtue, of things that you're pursuing, etc.
Feel pressure to fix everything? Feel pressure to meet everyone's need?
More the former, of pressure to fix what is broken.
Do you push for more structure or do you push for more closeness? That's a good distinction. I like that one. I wrote that, but that hit me.
Damn, Jeff.
Well done, sir.
Yeah. I push for structure, but I long for closeness.
Yeah.
I think that structure gets in the way of my closeness often, but I fall into the trap of pushing for it all the same.
Can you judge the structure then?
Absolutely.
Like, what would that look like if the structure is getting in the way and you're judging the structure? I suppose that would be just it. Is there anything more to say there?
I'm not sure there's anything further to say.
Yeah. It just, you are judging the structure based on the fact that it is getting in the way of your closeness.
Yeah, I routinely think in terms of structures. To get a little bit verbose here, Marx believes in historical materialism, which is to say that like your physical surroundings and the metastructures that you live within, the economy, your relationship to capital, et cetera, determine the incentives and opportunities that you have to act. And I truly believe in that. And so routinely, when there is a problem in my personal life or in my relationship, the first go-to question I have is, how do we change our environment to incentivize different kinds of decisions that we want to be making? How do we make the decisions flow more naturally out of our rhythms and out of our actual lived environment, rather than saying this is some individual moral failure that I just need to, buck up and own my own agency, et cetera. I think it's more complicated than that, and environment is a huge factor. Is that like a one? Does that sound like a one?
The whole time I'm thinking Colin and I are the same person. Do you feel a need to suppress your impulses? Like to judge your impulses? Does that come up in your heart?
Increasingly less. And that's maybe a problem. Maybe I'm on the long road to debauchery, but like I feel very little need to I feel the need to improve, but I don't sit in my own judgment very long. I make an assessment and I'm like, yep, that's right. I should do better there. But I don't have the self-flagellating instinct that I feel like I see for so many other ones to sit and ruminate in that space. But maybe I'm mischaracterizing it.
When judging your impulses, do you ever think Jay would think this is terrible, and so I need to change?
I do.
Okay, so is it more of a relational judgment or is it more of a personal judgment?
It's a personal judgment, but the weight of the relational impact is often the catalyst that kind of tilts the needle in favor of action over inaction.
Solid.
Did I say debauchery? I don't mean debauchery. I mean, who the hell is he talking about?
Do you feel a strong need to correct your debauchery, Colin?
No, not particularly.
Funny. Do you find that you judge when other people aren't keeping up?
The critic is far more self-centered than projecting outward. If it's someone I really care about, though, I judge not through the lens of like I think that you're failing, so much as what do I need to do to help you succeed? Like I just see that you're not getting there, and so what do I need to change about our environment, etc.
Do you ever feel guilty for prioritizing yourself?
Constantly. This is another trope of my relationships is I will neglect my own needs until I can't any longer. And then it's a, the big hairy problem that we just have to face because I've neglected it for too long.
Bang. All right. So you're giving me the opportunity to say something that's not in the book
Let's do it.
It's the kick yourself side of this, is that I discovered way too late that one of the best ways to find type is to ask hard questions about your stress move. And for ones are going to move into 4 space, 2s are going to move into 8 space. This is a very different move because 4 space is kind of withdrawing into emotions, and 8 space is getting amplified and creating hard boundaries and getting a little bit more assertive and feeling repressed. So for 2s moving into stress, feeling repression characterizes the move. For 1s moving into stress, emotions, particularly your own emotions, come to the forefront. That would be the primary difference, I think, between the two. So we move, 1s and 2s are both earners. All of that's all over your language. The systematic thinking, the outsourcing, the responsive nature of 1s and 2s, all over. But when things truly break and you crash and you need to recover, does it look like a withdrawn step into, I really need to think about my life again? Or does it look more like an assertive step that is creating boundaries, aware of vulnerabilities, charged with energy so that you can get back to helping people? Do either of those hit you?
The problem is that they both do. And I know that they're motivated differently. And ultimately that's the question that we're trying to get to. The thing that happens is here's where I resonate with both, and perhaps you can help guide me toward which the needle is pointing closer toward. In those real moments when things break, I think I absolutely assume a very assertive posture very quickly to throw up the walls and to throw up the boundaries and say, I need to control this environment and maintain that control of the environment, to take stock of what's working and what's not, to identify the problem. Nonetheless, I'm kind of imposing something I already know about the 4, or rather just a quip about the 4 that resonates with me, is the feeling of no one understands this. Like, this is a unique experience that couldn't be understood by others. I think that is kind of the soft underbelly of the assertive action, is that internalized belief of, I need to throw up these barriers and push out because no one understands and they're not welcomed in that space. So the action feels like an 8, but kind of the exposed vulnerability feels like a 4. Maybe I'm cross-pollinating these too much, though.
No, actually, as you're talking, the one little hiccup is going to be that 2s move to 4 in security, and that can, when things truly break, sometimes that can color how things break. We move into our stress move commonly. I find that when things truly break, I can manufacture some 7 for myself. So but again, it's because you're kind of you're scurrying a little bit when things break severely to get some stability, and sometimes you push into your security move there.
Understood.
But well, here would be a way to do this, which I haven't thought about. This can be a test run. I'm gonna flip to the 4 versus 8 section in the mistyping chart.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about replenishment and restoration, and how is it that I'm getting my grounding so that I can move back to being good and help people. You at your core, I assume it's the case if you're a 1 or a 2, you at your core, you're going to feel grounded most when you are on the front lines, doing the things with the people, helping and making the world better. When that doesn't happen, and you have severe obstacles,
Yeah.
you're going to move into other tools. And 2s are going to move to 8 tools, and 1s are going to move to 4 tools. So with that in mind, the moving, when you have severe obstacles and things have broken and you are exhausted and need to replenish and feeling like you just need to find yourself again, as it were, or get some stability, does it look more like pushing towards focusing on your authentic self? Or does it look more like I need to be strong and remind myself of my power?
Far more the need to be authentic than the need to be strong.
Do you talked about control. Do you, in those moments, do you crave depth and self-understanding, or do you crave something more like agency and self-control? See, that's going to bleed a little bit as I say it. Anyway, I'll let the question stand.
I think their agency is a word that resonates more.
Do you feel like when things have broken that you're more inclined to reveal your vulnerable side or to guard your vulnerable side?
To reveal.
Yeah, that's a better question than the agency one. Do you feel in stress like you want to withhold forgiveness from others, or perhaps on the 8 side you feel like you should withhold your warmth?
I don't think I've ever withheld forgiveness. And so I can think of moments when I have displayed coldness, in broken spaces, but I don't think I've ever withheld forgiveness.
Perfect.
I'm reading down in the book, if I may, to the next one.
Yeah, which one?
For all emotions to anger is the impulse.
Well, see, and this is where the unfortunate thing is there's going to be a slight cross-pollination here, because if you're a 1 moving to 4 in stress, the stress move is designed to get you back into being centered. But agency and anger will characterize oneness, and so there may be some slippery points here.
Yeah.
In stress, do you want to be seen or do you want to be respected?
Seen, far more.
Do you feel more inclined to expose where you're sad or to conceal where you're sad?
I think to expose where I'm sad.
Is your anger expressed as frustration, or is it expressed as more of a resistance?
I don't know. I don't know. What do you mean by resistance there?
Anger is used as a tool to keep away people who want to betray you and hurt you.
Mm-hmm. I think frustration then in that case.
I think this is all of this I think is pointing back
to the 1.
So I just say it strikes me. I think if I was really diving in, if I were you and I was really diving into Enneagram work, I would just start with oneness. There's probably a ton of stuff you can learn from all the types, but some of the initial, like using Enneagram as a tool, is just saying, which map am I going to grab first? I would grab the 1 map, and then some of the language that the map wants to elevate for you is some of the stuff to focus on first and to use it until it doesn't work anymore. And just to know that you have a severe 2-wing.
So this is where I would welcome your wisdom and your mentorship here about, I've been trapped in the 1-7 dilemma now for so many months. And in talking with you and TJ, we really kind of vacillate here. And when I read through the appendix chapter between 1s and 7s, I have a little system here where I indicated if the needle pointed very strongly toward the 1, toward the 7, or was rather quite split. And the division was, of the 30 listed, 7 of them were strongly in the 1 camp, 5 were strongly in the 7 camp, but 18,
come on,
it truly felt like the needle was not partial toward either.
I think that the sevenness, this would make sense of your answer of saying that you live in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You being a one makes much more sense of you saying that you live in the future and yet have a very strong, responsive, reactive nature to the world. You care way too much about people to be a seven. Unfortunately, sorry, sevens. Like that's going to be the struggle for sevens. Is getting in touch with their feelings, naming their feelings, elevating their feelings. You just don't have any of that in your language. But what this would communicate is that you live and employ a lot of security, a lot of your security move. You apparently have a foundation, and I suppose as I look at you, this makes a lot of sense to me. You've established a really strong foundation from which your motive is getting met, and you're able to push hard into security space, which means you are doing things that really fill your need for feeling good, feeling like you have a lot of the systems locked down and can dream. Anyway, that's what I see there. Because you did some of the study, you got any other thoughts? I would love to push a little harder since you're more informed.
I resonate with a lot of the conclusion that you just gave there. I will say that I think the elements of seven that have resonated with me most have been the aversion to boredom and the clinging to options. I feel like I habitually, I don't want to say hedge with a negative connotation, but I feel like I routinely hedge with available options ahead of me. And I am very slow to truly count an option out. Even if it's looking like one path will dominate, I will be quite slow to prune that branch off entirely in case there arises a need to kind of correct and go back to the point of decision and say, I just was misinformed. I made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
So I think that element of seven has been what has been very salient to me when I'm asking this question about which is the type for me, or which am I rather?
Is it the case? Does that come out of like a self-protective space, the keeping your options open side?
I think that it comes out of I want to experience everything that there is. And if the path that I have chosen is going to limit me and make me end up stuck is actually, if there was a word that I am like triggered by in terms of saying I'm going to put a lot of energy into avoiding it, it's feelings of stuckness. I like loathe that feeling when I have it.
Well, that complicates things.
There are strong emotions, right? Around that word. Yeah.
No, I likewise. I also feel you there. Is it the case that you blame yourself if you're stuck, or do you commonly look outward?
I blame myself, and I blame the decisions that have. Again, I'm thinking about this environmental context. I blame myself for not creating a different set of incentives or a different set of options that I should have chosen from. So yeah, it is self-rooted.
I think that's where I would go.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's because I likewise, longtime listeners will know that I'm into a building investment that I just can't move forward. And it's doing severe work on my soul to just sit here. Do you find that on the stuckedness side, like, are you inclined at a party to be very aware that it's time to leave, even though you just got there?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, we could talk about ones and sevens for a minute. So you've already done, this is a good place.
Yeah.
We did 2 lists already. We did 3 lists actually already. So you already did the 1-7 list though.
I did.
What were the 5 that stood out to you most for sevenness?
Yeah, I'll read them out here chronologically. Feel pressure to stay upbeat, cling to options, distract self to stay optimistic, avoid boredom, and move quickly to what could be next.
Let's go with that last one.
Sure.
Do you feel moral pressure to finish what you do?
Moral pressure. No. If someone is depending upon it, yes. But if I was pursuing it intrinsically, then I'm happy to leave it behind. It makes no difference to me if I finish something merely for the sake of having started it. But yet again, professionally, if someone is depending upon it, I will always see it through, because it's not up to me in that regard. Well, it may yet be up to me, but I'm going to finish it for their sake.
Yeah. Okay, so typing on the lines is going to be interesting here as well. So you can't do the stress move thing that we just did with 4s and 8s. You can do a security move thing with the 7. So it may be the case, like in security, when you go on vacation, your ideal vacation, what does it look like?
My ideal vacation is, I want to experience a sheer breadth of what that place has to offer. A trip I'm going on this coming year, Jeff. Yeah. This is maybe textbook 7, and I'm going to skew this a little bit. But I should note that I designed this trip in such a way because the friend I'm taking, I want this to suit his needs, not necessarily mine. But I am doing, in 10 days, I am traveling from Bratislava to Vienna to Salzburg to Munich to Vaduz to Zurich to Strasbourg to Luxembourg City to Frankfurt. That is a horrible trip itinerary. That makes no sense in 10 days. You're living in the car. But it's going to be the sampler plate of his dreams, and we're going to love it. And
do you feel like a lot of the energy is you pulling him into that adventure?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All of it. When I'm on vacation, my favorite activity to do, though, and this is where Jay and I are so similar, this is our absolute favorite thing to do together when we travel, is we love to immerse ourselves in our favorite music through headphones, take a camera, and just get lost in the city, looking at architecture, watching life, trying new things, but having no real agenda, rather just moving through the city where we feel pulled to do, or riding bikes, even better.
Just keeping all your options open there.
Keeping all of our options open, exactly. Well synthesized.
Do you have a high value for spontaneity then on that front?
Very high value.
Is that you centered, or is that you in a very secure space?
That's me in a very secure space.
Okay. Do you find, like, okay, on the stress side, like when things really break, are you pushing primarily for order in a way that you hadn't been before?
Absolutely. When things break, I'm taking charge, and we're taking an inventory.
So that's not normally your gear.
Only in stress.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Well, let's go down that road then. Something breaks and it's your fault. Does it look like you saying, okay, this is my fault, I'm going to fix this? Like,
oh yeah.
That's just.
I mean, I'm not happy about the it's my fault part.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm going to show up with solutions. Definitely.
I'm going to show up with solutions. There's solutions to get you back to where things were a little bit more flexible and spontaneous.
Yes.
Okay. See, I'm really bad at this.
Not true.
Dear listener, I'm really bad at this. Well, do you... Let me pause here for a second then. A lot of the language that we hit up front was skimming around talking about your inner life and doing business with exposing some of the, the less savory feelings that you might have. Mm-hmm. Is that a really difficult process for you to name, some of the things that have gone badly internally?
Internally, yes, it is very difficult for me to name them. Externally, I feel like I have a very quick diagnosis, and my mind is racing towards solutions. But internally, it's difficult to come up with the vocabulary that fits.
Perfect. All right. Well, That's the feeling repression that I was looking for. That would also make a lot of sense of like, if you're able to really help people step into people's worlds, move them where they need to go, but then you can quickly move to the next thing. That would make a lot of sense. Do you find, is it fair to say that you can stand independent from other people's emotions and just get the job done?
Absolutely.
Okay. There you go. Gosh. Again, really bad at this. I should just go to the buzzwords from the beginning. You live in your head, though. Would that be a common thing? Like, would you just say I'm always in my head?
I am so in my head.
Yeah,
in
damn
fact, that my body dysmorphia, I joke with people, but I'm actually not joking. My body dysmorphia is such that I don't have a body. I am just a floating head. And in those moments when I experience actual embodiness, it is a novel experience for me. And I'm like, wow, do other people experience this regularly? Are people aware of what is happening inside of themselves? How am I 33?
Colin, when coming to Enneagram, I think you should start with 7 and see what happens.
Interesting. I will do that.
I think that that's going to be primarily characterized by, and this is what's great about your relationship with a 4, is she may be pushing you toward developing that richer vocabulary of your inner life, and that can be a very, very balancing, helpful thing.
That's been my experience. Absolutely.
Come on. I think the ability to be present, that'll be a big place of growth, and getting into your body in healthy ways, as you were saying, is going to be one of the places on the map really worth naming. Finding those places where you can really honor the feelings, the deep feelings that other people have for you, that also can be real valuable for 7s. Expressing the one problem I routinely, so I have both a stepfather and a father who are a 7, and I say this commonly, but I don't know if they love me. And that 7s can commonly have their blinders onto that. That the people in their lives don't know about their rich affection for them. And so that might be something else to put on your radar. So there, I'm ending with action steps and trying to make up for our detours.
I love it. Detours included. Now, if I don't want to hold you here, but if I may ask, you've known me
day
since 2010.
Yes.
And when you aggregate the data set that is in your mind of our interactions, which are many for so many years, does the conclusion that you've come to at 7 resonate, or does it feel unsettled with other parts that you know about me? Because you are included in that vulnerable private sphere of individuals. And so you have access to a richer data set than, many others in the public sphere who interact with me in a more trivial, passive way.
I came to our conversation thinking 2 things. One, you went into being a lawyer in order to help people. That was dominant. And I just know you as a super optimistic person, but you have a gear where you shift into real, what would you call that? It's not nihilism, but it's like laughing at the fact that everyone's gonna die, aren't they? I don't know what you call that. So the amount of energy that you bring to the things that you put your hands to was primary for me. So I suppose I was always sitting on that kind of 1-7 line of where you live. Is it the case that you push further into what's right, or do you push into something like 7 space of, what's the adventure? I don't want to be stuck. I want to move. I just hear so much in your vocabulary, the what is right side. So I think I came with that as my intuition. So,
I mean, I think it makes sense given that the conversation topics that you and I most enjoy having, at least with each other, are ethical questions, are current events and world affairs, and are about creating environments where people are encouraged to become their best self. And so a lot of it is normative. And because you and I speak in normativity so fluently with one another, I think that one side is just so salient. And so to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
And I mean, it just, you speak the language of a 1 as though you're indigenous, you grew up over here. So,
Yeah.
but that's behavior and not necessarily motive. So if I do see some of the voracious appetite, and certainly what appears to be your ability to move fast to the next thing would be much more in line with 7s. And so living in that space, I would, if you want to do Enneagram work, put on the 7 glasses, see what they do for you. And that would be the next step. That's really all that typing is put on the glasses, start having conversations and assuming it, and see if it does anything for you. Do you feel the jolt? That's really always the question. Do you feel the jolt when certain things are said?
Absolutely. So, I do feel the jolt, more so that we've been talking about the 7 lately, because for a period of several years, we were wearing the glasses. I was wearing the glasses of oneness, and it felt like the lens explained a lot, but there was a blurry periphery. And I feel like the explanatory value has maybe increased by wearing the 7 lens instead.
That's good. For both for you, this is more for the sake of the listeners, but like for a 7, if I were to say something like, do you understand that you run away from the consequences of your actions sometimes? If that hits you, that would be the jolt, as it were. Or do you know that you can burn yourself out chasing your desires to satisfy your desires?
Let me use another quote from
do it.
The beloved Grinch.
From the Grinch? Come on.
From the Grinch. I have not shut up about the Grinch since the Clinton administration. That's a fact. That's true. That's true.
Come on.
When he says the avarice never ends, I'm like, that's my next tattoo. I just need to sit and meditate on that deep insight from Jim Carrey's The Grinch and realize, you know what, Colin, the avarice never ends. It will never be enough. And so you need to reevaluate your relationship to desire. Because it will not be satiated.
That's strong. That's strong.
Thank you, Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
Well, anytime you do typing, you're entering the front door and then seeing a new world. And so, but you've been familiar with this world, so I'm excited to see if anything hits you with this moving forward. I would love to hear it, and we can banter some more.
You and Mr. Wilson will be kept well apprised, perhaps too well apprised. Thank you, Jeff. I've really enjoyed it. Yes.
I enjoyed the hell out of this conversation, especially because I'm always wrong. And I need to remind myself. It keeps me humble.
I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this.
Excellent. Well, the Collin Cannon, cheering for you, cheering for your work, and excited to see all the new things in store for you, and to get reports on this 10-day epic European. You're going to be traveling all the time and not actually seeing any of these cities.
I'm going to see them through the window and go, wow, Bratislava is beautiful from a distance. Let's keep going.
So good.